You ready for this question?
Sure.
All right, here we go. My mother is on hospice care. We are hopeful that she will make it through Christmas. I'd really like my kids to be able to spend this last Christmas with their grandmother, but it is their mother's, my ex-wife's, year for Christmas. What can I do to get my kids with their grandmother for Christmas?
Yeah, that's a tough question, and stuff like this comes up all the time at this time of the year, even for a good reason here that you can understand what's going on, and then you get all the bad reasons too.
Yeah.
I just want my kids. And
Yeah.
So, in a situation like this, obviously we've talked about custody before. What happens is there's a parenting plan, and normally it sounds like they have a fairly normal arrangement where the kids alternate holidays. One Christmas with this parent, and the next Christmas with that parent. It's just unfortunate that this time it falls on one that's kind of a little strange.
Right.
First thing we've always got to do here is leave the law out of it, talk to the other parent and say, can we work something out? That's ideal.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully this isn't a scenario where we're out of state, there's weeks involved and lots of travel expenses. That would be difficult, but certainly if it's locally, hopefully cooler heads would prevail and you can maybe work something out. If maybe not Christmas Day, maybe Christmas Eve, maybe Boxing Day, the next day, something like that, where you can work something out, because obviously this is a special scenario and we want things to work out to everybody's benefit. My fear is that because we've now sent this question in and we're talking to a lawyer, it's been attempted and failed. And so the scenario then becomes, what do you do? Well, if you've got an agreement, ideally you abide by that agreement. That's it. But the question is, what can I do? You can go to court. You can't hire a lawyer, and you can't ask for a modification, a temporary modification, a permanent modification. Quite frankly, a judge might look at the situation and say that mother is so unreasonable in denying this request that I'm gonna grant it, I'm gonna change it. Maybe even on a more permanent basis. I think that'd be a bit of an extreme example. Or a judge could just say, listen, you got an agreement, and if you guys can't work it out, I'm not going to get involved in this, because there's some resistance on the part of courts to say, we don't want to micromanage your life here. And so you can get a little pushback sometimes from coming in all the time, and I think some of that might be defined a little bit by how thick is that file. Are these parents that have been running to court all the time, they've always got a problem
with these,
or is this a 5-year-old case, there's never been any issues, and we just need some help here. It's hard to say how all that would play out.
Can a judge do that? He says, look, I'm not going to get involved. If they bring it before him, you guys have to work this out?
Well, the judge's mandate is to always do what's in the best interest of the child. And that can be, especially in a scenario like this, a fairly broad mandate. A judge can say, what's in the best interest of the child is that I make these parents work this out.
Well, my question is, how quickly can that be done? Like, if the mother just got sick, how quick can you get in to see someone?
You can do emergency motions that can be done in fairly short order. So as we sit right now, there's probably plenty of time to get that heard. The problem is you're talking about spending time, money, and resources on something that hopefully two people could work out.
I would say, wouldn't it be easier just to say, I tell you what, let's do a special Christmas on the 20th or something?
Just something.
Right.
Yeah, that would make a little more sense than
But this seems
lawyering up.
Yeah, this seems like a lot of what you say, though. It's like, talk to the person. Don't jump right away to court.
Yeah,
in a lot of instances.
Well, and I just think that's the best advice you can give people. It's calling a lawyer, filing lawsuits, in a lot of scenarios where there's a dispute between two people is the nuclear option. And we just don't need to go there. Now, plenty of lawyers are happy to take your money and do that. But realistically, we're all better if we don't have to spend the money on the lawyers and we can do things. Now, we've said the things before. Some things you've got to get a lawyer ahead of time, and I don't want to get into the wrong. But when we're talking about working out between two people what's best for the kids, hopefully you don't need a lawyer to do that.
Right. What a stressful situation.
Right.
You would hope somebody would be compassionate enough to say, and maybe they could negotiate, well, maybe we can give you a little extra time, even though this is,
the other thing that comes up like this at this time of year is one parent will decide, I've decided I'm taking the kids to Disney World for Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
And you're just not, I'm just taking them, and you can't have them, even whatever it says.
Yeah.
You get the call, you get the emergency motions, and there's a lot of business for family lawyers this time of year from people just deciding they're going to do what they want to do, regardless.
That's a whole different story.
It's a whole different story, and hopefully this doesn't turn into that.
Right from
Absolutely. Hopefully this doesn't turn into that.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
You bet.
Will. All right. Very good. All right. If you have a legal question for Will, you can email him at wworsham@color10.com, and he'll answer your question on the show. All right. Coming up, you can't go wrong with jewelry for Christmas, right? The jewelry gal Amanda Gizzi will show us the hottest gifts for the year. That's up next.